Disclaimer. All views expressed on What Makes Us Fire are solely those of the person or persons giving them. What Makes Us Fire does not represent or claim to represent any particular city or fire department, and therefore make the claim that all views and standpoints are affiliated with What Makes Us Fire and with What Makes Us Fire only. Any mention of certain fire departments or cities within the interviews are solely for informational and opinion-based dialogue. In short, if you have a problem with what was being published, just say something about it and don't be a Richard.
Listen, if you got nothing to do, maybe come check me out on What Makes Us Fire podcast. It's going to be fun. We'll talk about some fun stuff. Talk about why I'm insane and most likely an idiot. See you guys then.
What Makes Us Fire? How you guys doing out there? Today, you guys heard him. My next guest on today's podcast is the great and powerful Jason Patton. Y'all, the views and ideas this man expresses in the interview are something that I truly believe within the fire department realm and even the general public, you guys are going to love to hear. Jason's with Fire Department Chronicles, and if you don't know what that is, go look it up. They're funny videos. And he's also with a company called Fire Department Coffee, which has an awesome background as well. They give 10% of their proceeds to injured firefighters and their families. So I'm going to let Jason do a lot of the talking. I ask a few questions. We dive a little bit into his psyche and what makes him do the job. You guys enjoy. This man's hilarious. Have fun. Sit back and relax. The great Jason Patton. Northern accent when you start talking.
I'm from Florida.
You're from Florida,
No,
born and raised?
I'm from Florida, born and raised. Whenever I picture, it's like in the accent's like this really weird Boston, New York, like
it's a
whatever.
Mesh,
like Connecticut is pretty much it's pretty much what I imagine. Whenever I picture like, you know, firefighters, like that's how I picture they speak. Like, fuck fucking EMS, man.
We have some guys at the department that are like, yeah, Jerry, like Jerry. It's always Jerry.
I just always picture the same storytellers. Yeah, we walk in and there was like 9 fucking bodies. So we went in and we grabbed them all, man. It was fucking amazing.
You know what? I'm pretty sure that there are some firefighters that actually are like that up there.
100%. And it's the salty old. You know, it's fun, man, because we should probably start the podcast so we can.
Yeah, we should. Get into that. We'll get into all that. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll start from the beginning. All right, everybody. Jason, thank you for coming on to the podcast, man. We appreciate you having you. You taking the time. You're all the way in Florida. I'm here in Texas. Nice. And I messaged you on Instagram. And to be honest with you, I never thought you would even respond. I mean, I don't want to like make your head any bigger or anything, but you're kind of a big deal.
Thanks, dude. I know my head's, you know, big in actual size, not I know I have a big fat head. You know what, dude? I think at the end of the day, I'm just a firefighter. That's just what it comes down to. And you know, I think messaging people back is a huge deal. I remember when before I started any of this, I followed a few pages and I would message them and be like, hey man, like you're doing a great job, man. Thank you so much for what you're doing. And I would never get responses. And it was like, it sucks. I mean, and I understand, you know, depending on what's going on, they may have, you know, a ton of people messaging them, but I think it's important, bro, especially since, again, 99% of the people that are going to follow the page, that are going to enjoy the content, they're all firefighters or EMTs or paramedics, just like me. So, I mean, it's when it really comes down to it, the only thing that keeps you relevant in reality is human connection. And if you're not taking the time to at least message someone back, especially if you're like, hey man, can you come on my podcast? I'd love to have you on. Then I think you're doing a disservice to everyone around you.
Well, thank you so much for having that mindset, because I think really, truly, honestly, just having you on is going to help me grow. I mean, you're coming on to a podcast that only right now on Instagram only has almost 400 followers. So I'm still growing. I've literally only been doing this for 4 weeks now, 5 weeks.
Yeah,
It's
awesome.
and it's crazy how many people have actually been really helpful and very like, hey, go get it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And there's some that are, of course, firefighters. You know how firefighters are, like, yeah, man, yeah, you're gonna do that, okay.
Yeah.
So, but when I
Firefighters are
message,
assholes.
yeah, no, we all
Just-
are. We all are. We bust each other's balls and everything.
Mhm.
But when I messaged you, I told my wife, and she knew who you were from the videos and everything. And I told a couple of other people, and they're like, yeah, okay. Like, yeah, okay. I was just like, and I was, and for me, it really was taking a shot in the dark. Right. But what did I have to lose?
Bro, but that's a great attitude, man.
Yeah.
I mean, number one, again, like I'm just a firefighter, but dude, that's the way to do it. That's a lot of people, they wouldn't message somebody because it's a big whole like fear of rejection, the whole thing, not like comparing me to that kind of thing, but just saying in general, for most people's lives, they won't try to start the business, or they won't go to EMT school, or they won't, step outside of their comfort zone, try to go for that promotion or whatever, because there's an actual fear of rejection. And I don't even think it's an internal fear of rejection. Like, oh, what will I feel like? It's what are people around me going to say? Like, oh man, fuck, I took the driver engineer's exam and got a 69 on it. I failed it by 1 point. Like, it's not, yeah. I didn't fail it by 40, I'd just not so like not good enough. So, but it's, it sucks, man. Like it sucks, but in the end, who cares? Like everyone, any single successful person that has actually done anything with their life, they all say the same thing. I have bombed at one point in time. So
yeah, I've seen that a lot of successful people are like, I must have failed 1,000 times for every one success I've had.
Yeah,
it's that mindset. So I messaged you messaged me back. I said thank you. We started. You messaged me back, and then I messaged you, and you're a busy guy, I understand. And then I'm like, I didn't hear back from you for a little bit. I was like, oh crap. All right. Well, that was fun. and then you messaged me back, and then I was like, all right. And then the messaging, we became a little bit more consistent with the messages, but it was still in the back of my head until yesterday when we did the practice call and for the promo video, which by the way came out really great. I edited it. I figured it out. It came out really good. Cool. But there was this thought in the back of my head. There's some firefighter out there fucking with me right now. Because you know how we do it. How we will make that person believe they won the fucking lottery until they to claim the money and videotape them going, no, you didn't. Like I was seriously thinking there's a firefighter out there fucking with me right now.
No, I would never do that, man. And it's funny because that's with messaging, that's how I am a lot of times is I'll go through, I'll look at the messages, I'll see what's going on. If it's something that needs an immediate response, then I'll respond. But, a lot of times I just like to go through and see exactly what's going on. And then when I'm sitting around, because I'm on, my phone constantly, I'll be like, crap, I got to respond to that real fast. And I'll respond back. No, that's, firefighters are assholes. We just are, and I don't mean to the general public. I mean to each other,
No. Like it's just to each other.
100%, dude. Like we're just, and I mean, there's a level of like the brotherhood. This is what we do to each other. I mean, this is what you do to your brothers, like your actual like bloodline brothers. You would do the same thing. So it's hysterical, and it obviously sometimes goes way too far. Goes the absolute opposite. Where they're like actual physical hazing and shit like that. But it is funny, man, because you're right, dude. People would do that. Thankfully, there's only a few people that I've ever dealt with regards to social media in general, where they were just like, it was like, holy shit, man, you have absolutely nothing better to do with your life than to bust someone's balls, like troll hard. And every time I always tell people, if you are doing something like with this podcast, you're going to get hate. It's normal. It's just, it's just the way it is. But the way I have always looked at people whenever they go, or it took me a little bit to get to this place, but once I got there, it was like clarity and so much better in my own head. Think about how much time it takes for someone to sit down, watch a video or read a comment, then click reply, write out their entire negative, whatever the hell they just wrote, and then actually hit send. I mean, it's not something that happens like that. I mean, that takes physical effort. And for someone to be that miserable, they're just a miserable piece of crap. And I feel bad for them 90% of the time. But my favorite thing to respond, because this is the absolute truth, if someone takes the time to write something negative on your post, it actually bumps your algorithm. So it shows your shit to their friends. So they, by being an asshole, have now promoted your product. Like, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate this.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's the truth, man.
It is. It is very much the truth. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I'm still learning this whole social media stuff. And last night I had a recording session with Miss Krista Lindsay. She's a realtor and a daughter of one of the firefighters. And she has like 10,000 followers on TikTok. She doesn't like me calling her this, but she's like the TikTok realtor. But she got me on TikTok last night. I have no idea how to use it. None.
TikTok's awesome, dude.
Is it?
You know what, man? And people make fun of it. They're like, TikTok, like, I'm never getting on TikTok.
Well, I was that guy. I was that guy. I was just like, TikTok? No, man. No. And then she showed me and I was like, oh, okay.
But everybody does that, bro. Everybody does that. History repeats itself constantly. If you look back, right? Like you look back when it was MySpace, then here comes Facebook and everyone's like, fuck Facebook. I'm not getting on Facebook. Everyone's on Facebook. Then Instagram comes along. Same thing, bro. It's always this. Nobody wants to get on it. Not to mention, and listen to me. TikTok is, assuming it doesn't get banned or whatever the hell is going on, TikTok is monstrous for businesses. Monstrous. And anyone not taking advantage of it is stupid. Do you know why? It takes forever to get followers on Facebook or Instagram. But on TikTok, you have one viral video. You can have 100,000 followers overnight. Easily.
That's what she was saying. And I was just like, oh, God dang it. So I guess I was like, all right. And this whole thing is all about self-promotion and everything. But so I want to go ahead and
life now,
yeah, definitely. I want to go ahead and get into a little bit about you, man. Where did you start? Where do you come from? What department do you currently work for? All that mumbo jumbo. Basically, if I'm going to go to Facebook and look at your Facebook profile about section, what am I going to see? Type deal.
So I don't really blast out what department I work for. Try to keep that.
That's fine.
People can.
You
do enough. Yeah. Do enough research, you'll figure it out. But I try not to really blast it out there into the interwebs. No, man, I've worked for my department for 12 years. I've been a paramedic for about 14. EMT paramedic for 14. I started there, man, 08, bro. Like during the recession, it was crazy, or during, when everything was kind of flattening out and no one was getting hiring freeze, what I call it. But got lucky, got picked up, man, enjoyed it. And probably about 9 years in, we're messing around with the boys. We always joke around, man. I've you know how it is in the firehouse. Man. You're always doing something stupid if you're bored. So we were like, yo, let's record a video, man. It all started off because everyone does it. The National Geographic's thing, right? So we did National Geographic's Fire Department edition, and we were hunting for the battalion chief. And we walk in there and we mess with him, and I'm poking his belly. I'm like, the battalion chief, you look at his belly, the larger the belly, the more gnarly they are. And I'm like poking his belly. And
I remember seeing that video. Yeah.
So we're like, do that, man. We have a good time. Put it up on Facebook. It gets a few views. Not a big deal. And then there used to be a page, and I can't remember the name of it. Savage Paramedic is the one that's there now. But there was this page, man. It was huge. And or had a lot of followers at the time. And it was all about paramedics and EMTs and EMS stuff. And I had sent it to them. I was like, yo, would you mind posting this? And the guy goes, hey, listen, give me a piece of advice. He's like, start a page. He's like, create a page and start posting your videos on that page. He said, that's what you need to do. Don't keep it personal. I was like, all right, man. Did it. Posted a few more videos. Nothing really came from it. And then I posted, we were hunting for the paramedic via their natural mating call, which is bitching. And and it was perfect, man. It just worked out perfectly. It got 100,000 views in 8 hours, which was like
Holy
massive.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. I remember being so excited. Like, this is insane. I got like 10,000 followers in a day. Like, it was really, really cool. So, you know, I did that, and then it just started escalating from there. I actually shut it down for a year, which was crazy. Yeah, we got a new chief. The chief was doing some pretty incredible stuff in our department, and all the guys in my department were like, if you mess this up, bro, because we're trying to get pay rate, we're the lowest paid in the region, like, and they're like, if you screw this up, I swear to God, we'll kill you. And I was like, all right, I'll shut it down, man. So shut it down for a year. And then after a little bit, I pulled it back up, man, and now I am where I am. So it's crazy, man. It's fun.
It's crazy because you kind of just popped out of nowhere, right? Mm-hmm. It was all of a sudden, here's Jason Patton, and it really wasn't even your name. It wasn't even Jason. It was just, here's this funny guy making these videos about our job, and it is just hilarious. Like you're taking,
thank you.
You're taking all the bad stuff and the stuff that we tease each other about, and you're making it funny. It's funny because there's some truth to it, right? There's that old saying, it's funny because it's true. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're accentuating the true part in a very humorous way. And I think people, especially in our profession, totally understand it, totally get it. And even the people that are outside the profession, when they see these videos, you're giving them a glimpse into the life in a way that's bearable, so to speak, if that makes sense. It's like they're not seeing the blood, guts, and gore. They get to see the family side of it, the life side of it, how we bust each other's balls and stuff like that. Something that they don't get to see all the time, you know? And
that's it, bro. That's the way it should be, you know?
Right.
And I always try to keep it PG-13 was the big thing for me.
Right. And we talked about that yesterday, and it's actually probably helped you, I think, being able to share a lot more with everything that's, you know, going on and stuff, and the whole restrictions on what you can and cannot see, can and cannot say, everything. What's been the hardest part out of all this? What's been the hardest part starting all this, starting your videos, being a firefighter at the same time, and all that other?
Yeah. You know, it's I think a lot of it in the beginning was just like the nervousness of what I can or cannot do. You know, always riding the line of PG-13. If it even comes close to something that's offensive, that I'm like, I'm not going to do that. You know, like the Narcan video that I did. I did the 4 reactions, right? We all know the 5th reaction, where they try to beat the shit out of you. Like,
because they're pissed off. You took their high
they're
away.
Pissed off. You took away their high, or, you know, man, I got to tell you, I can relate to that. Like, if not that I've ever done heroin, but if I was in a place of bliss and happiness, and you ripped me out of that, even though I was dying, but if you ripped me out, I probably wouldn't be very happy. I mean, we've all been woken up from a nap by an asshole that scares the shit out of you. Like, that probably is roughly the same feeling. Like, you want to kill somebody. So I get it, but I can't display that, because then what happens is it becomes an offensive joke now, where it's like, oh, everyone who does heroin is like that. It's like, no, they're not. But, you know, like, so you always got to walk that line. I'd say the hardest thing in the beginning was kind of getting used to negative comments. That was, you know, I got a few of them, you know, they slowly went away. But there was a couple people that went on there and made some negative comments, and now it's very rare that I see anything like that. But honestly, the hardest part, man, has been just creating content. Like, you gotta come out with the next best thing. You gotta constantly be renewing yourself, or changing what your style is, but still keeping true to what people want to watch. Like, that's probably the hardest thing. If you repeat the same process over and over again, people are eventually gonna be like, this is stupid. Like, oh yeah, oh, he's doing the same joke again. That's great. But if you keep the same idea that brought them there in the first place, but change the focus a little bit, a lot of times, it keeps people entertained.
Yeah, it sounds like being able to evolve while staying within the same realm is pretty hard.
It's very, very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I just, when we watch your videos, and when I say we, the fire department, the fire guys, whenever we react to them, man, it's just something that we watch and we're just like, it's so crazy how much we can relate, but yet we know it's completely off the wall, but we relate. And it's hard to explain. It's almost like a connection. Like, I was there. He's literally reenacting what I did 5 minutes ago. But you make it look so much better.
Well, we're all the same, bro. Like, I don't care where you go. We're all, you walk in, and the second you walk in a station, you know who the driver is. You know who the captain is. You know who's the lazy guy that only does enough to get by. You know the guy that's out there the hard charger, trying to find shit to do, and you're like, shut up, relax, stop doing stuff. You're making us look bad. Like, or the guy that's like, yeah, I want to learn some stuff, but he doesn't want to speak up. Like, it's always the same thing, no matter what, no matter where you go, and it's incredible. It really, really is.
And getting into that, it's incredible how the department has these roles that no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, everybody plays that role. It's like, it's gonna happen if you become a firefighter, and within the fire department, you become a driver. Even if you tell yourself you're not going to be that quintessential, what everybody thinks an EO is, you evolve into it without even trying. Right.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, we have the go-getters, the busybodies looking for the busy work, trying to make everybody else look bad. And then when you're not doing the busy work, you're the shithead. And then, you know what I mean? It's like, holy crap. But what I find so crazy is that as much of the same all the fire departments are in the roles that we play, we're so different as human beings. Like, the diversity within the fire department, I don't think is shown in Hollywood on a daily basis. The diversity of just the human being aspect of it is just not shown. I don't think people realize they see, like you said, of how we're all the same, right? They see the roles being played all the same, doesn't matter who they are. And I think they only see that. But what they don't see is that outside of the job, some of these guys don't even hang out just because they have different political views. Some of these guys actually argue outside the job. Inside the job, hey, I got your back 110%. Outside the job, peace. I don't have anything to do with you.
I think that's been the hardest part with a lot of people with brotherhood and everything, is that, we are different. I mean, we just are, and each department is also different in many ways. The individuals who are there, because it tends to be the same people that want to become firefighters, but the departments are completely different depending on where you are, what region, money-wise, so on and so forth. But no, you're right, man. Like, that's probably the hardest thing that I had to learn walking in the door, was the brotherhood isn't the same. It's not like it is. It's not like it is in certain departments. And I mean, legitimately, you walk into one department and it's like, oh yeah, man. And you know what I truly think it depends on? The size of the department, and if there's bidding. That's the number one thing. I don't know how you guys work, but
there's
do you guys all bid? So you don't, like, are you at the same station forever, or you get moved?
We do get moved from time to time, but we definitely have the guys that have been at the same department with the same crew pretty much their whole careers. So, if a new station opens or something like that, there's no, you put in a bid to go for this station, like they have an open bid area or time. No, it's just, hey, we got new guys. We might have to move you out for a few months for their training, because we like to rotate the rookies. But other than that, no, you can potentially stay at the same station with the same guys your entire career. At our department, currently, that's how it works right now.
How many guys do you guys have?
We're a small department. We're like at 260, 270, three shifts, Kelly schedule.
All right. So I'm an even smaller. I'm a 70 guys. So 70 guys. Dang. Yeah. 70 guys, 4 stations. We all know each other, we all do know each other, but it's hard, right? So it's very, it's a, what is it called? A double-edged sword. Like it's, it's great because, we rotate every 4 months or 4 to 6 months, depending on the shift. But every 4 to 6 months you rotate because we legitimately have 2 fast stations, 2 slow stations. So you'll go fast, slow, fast, slow. This way, you don't lose your skills, but you don't get burnout kind of thing. Some of our stations will run 18, 20 calls a shift, and like you get smacked. But it's good because you rotate, but it's bad because there's no station pride. Because you're not at the same damn station. Like, why am I going to put $5,000 into workout equipment if I'm going to be rotated out of this? I'm only going to see it every, once every 2 years or whatever. So, if they had bidding, if they had, stations where everyone was assigned, then you'd probably see a better mesh. But it's really difficult when you're with one driver one shift, then you're with another driver the next shift, and then so on and so forth. And you definitely see that because there's certain people that want to work together, man. Certain people I don't like to work with, then there's definitely people that don't like to work with me. And if you're able to kind of put those people together, hey, you guys go there, you go there, you probably see a lot more brotherhood,
Yeah, for sure. Crew integrity definitely takes a beating when stuff like that happens. When you can't even work with the crew that you've been assigned for or with the same shift for even 1 month straight. You can't even do that just because there's constantly people moving and everything else. So what was your process, man? What was your process? So I guess you kind of went through it, but what would you say your daily process is when it comes to trying to create a new video or trying to create new content? Where does your passion come from, and what is it for? What are you doing these for, really? We went over what you doing them, but really what's your purpose behind these videos? Are you just doing it to be funny? Are you just doing it to have fun? Do you have a cause?
I mean, the main reason I love doing them is I just like making videos. Like I like entertaining my brothers and sisters. One thing that I had to come to terms with very quickly, and I know this won't make sense to some people, but I will not be the guy who is like massively huge on Facebook and YouTube and all that stuff, because my humor tends to be very directed towards a specific type of people. And instead of trying to make funny videos for the masses, I would rather make it for firefighters, police officers, or really firefighters, EMS, and healthcare workers, that kind of thing. Because I think in general that I'd rather saturate that market with my own people and really entertain them the most, because I think we need it a lot. But it quickly went from just me making funny videos to having a lot of mental health aspects to it, right? So, and I never even thought of it that way. Like I always thought of it like, let's laugh. This is fun. You can relate to it. And exactly what you said earlier. If you can relate to the humor, it's a lot funnier,
Mm-hmm.
So, but I like probably about 6 months in, I started getting messages like, dude, I love this, man. And he said, I'll never forget this message. And it was a guy who said, hey, I want to let you know, because I was on Snapchat a lot more at the time. He's like, hey man, I want to let you know that earlier we went on a really bad call. Showed up, was like, I think it was a couple dead kids. One of the parents were dead, like car accident, really bad. Got back to the station and they're like, how do you process crap like that? And they're like, man, I'm trying to process this. And one of the guys pulls up Snapchat and there's you acting like an asshole. And he said, all of us started laughing. We were laughing. It was a good time. And then it opened up the conversation, because a lot of times after calls, there's this like muddiness over, and it's just like, oh my God, like you're in the depths of crap. If you can get out of that with a little bit of dark humor, or, just something that's completely distracting, pull out the mood, then maybe you can come back and address it. And that's exactly what he said he did. They laughed. They laughed about the Snapchat, and then they were able to kind of talk about what they had just went through. And man, from there, it really exploded into what it is now, where I had my own issues, where, depression, suicidal thoughts from some stuff. And, Bless it. Sorry.
It's all right. You're good. You're good, man.
But you know, it quickly turned into where I put out my own thing, and it was really big for me, man. It was hard for me. One of those, like, you know, the whole stigma with mental health. I was like, you know what? I think a lot of people write me about mental health. So let me put out a video just saying, hey, look, this is what I went through. Like, I wanted to kill myself, and I cried on the video and all this stuff. And I swear to God, we made it. And right before we were going to put it out, I was like, yo, should I do this, man? Like, are people going to be like, what a pussy? Like, look at this dude crying. But then I was like, you know what?
But you know what? It's funny that you even had that thought process, that even though you had all these emotions and feelings and everything else, you were still concerned with how people look at you. It's
natural. It's natural, bro. Like,
yeah.
But it's natural, but I also think it's very, very societal pressure, shit that's been ingrained in our brains since we were kids. I mean, I don't agree with, you know, not instilling, I guess what we would call manly traits into men. I don't agree with not doing that. I do think there should be some protective, like, instincts that are ingrained into men at a young age, just so we understand, like, hey, we are bigger than women, so we should protect them, so on and so forth. But what I don't agree with is, like, who gives a shit if you cry? You know, dude, you're okay with expressing a happiness. Like, if I give you $1 million right now, you're gonna be like, yeah, you know. Or if I, like, tell you that, you know, I'm trying to have sex with your wife, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna kill you, bro. Like, you're okay with anger and happiness, but you're not okay with sadness or crying. Why? That's a natural emotion.
It's another natural emotion. That's it.
It's part of, like, the normal thing. In fact, I think a lot of us, the reason we have so many issues is we don't just acknowledge it. Bro, I don't know how many times you've cried in your life. You know, it doesn't happen very often.
Plenty.
But when it happens, bro, there is no better feeling after, man. I mean, there is one other better feeling we know about, but you know, like, but like, you cry, like, something happens, bro. You know, you have a dead parent, or you know, something bad happens. You cry. Oh, this sucks. And then after, you're like, holy shit, I feel so much better. Your body's doing it for a reason.
Your body's trying to get out what that internal feeling is, and that's just its way to do it. So did you end up posting the video?
Yes, posted the video and had a, like, massive response from it. You know, it got probably, I want to say probably 500,000 views or something like that.
Oh, wow.
It was cool, right? It was like, wow, but it wasn't, the views are obviously, like, that's awesome. What was amazing were the direct messages. I probably got 300 or 400 messages. I got 1,000 comments on the video. People posting it onto, you know, their fire departments. This is what we need to do. I'm not an example or an incredible person. I'm no different than anyone else in the world. The only difference is that if I am going through something emotional, if I'm hurt, or like I see something that's really fucked up in my own head, or I see a dead kid, I'm going to acknowledge it, and I'm going to go, that was really messed up, man. Like, dude, that kid's dead. I mean, we had a kid in a fire, a 1-month-old guy, boyfriend set the house on fire. Kid lived, though. This is crazy, bro. This is insane, man. Kid lived, and only because the house was on fire, completely on fire. But the 1-month-old was inside one of those little half-moon shaped pillows that you put infants in. Yeah. And he was inside of it. And when the guy who got there before we did, saved 2 other children who would have been killed, saved them, he had kicked down a door trying to find the 1-month-old. And when he did, it sandwiched the kid inside of the pillow and created a little environment. Dude, I could not a million years would that have made sense, right? But it did. And when we were passing this kid out the window, I mean, I was crying, bro, because I was like, that's a dead kid. We couldn't tell if he was alive or not because it was still smoky in the area. We hadn't been able to vent it yet. but I went through that emotion, bro, because that's natural, man. So whenever people whenever new firefighters come on, and I really like it because a lot of larger departments, what they're doing is if they have a training camp, that one of the days or one of the sections is built on talk. Like, bro, acknowledgement, man. If you're with your partner and your partner sees something that doesn't bother you, but to him it's bad, like he's like, man, that was really bad. Just acknowledge his feelings or her feelings. Oh shit, like, yeah, that was bad, man. I'm sorry, bro. Do you need to talk to somebody? Can I help you? Like, what can I do to help you, man? I tell you what, 99% of the time, probably going to negate the feelings right then, or at least validate it, and then we won't have to go to this dude's funeral a year from now because no one would talk to him.
Right. And it's crazy actually how new that quote unquote section within a lot of this training is now. I mean, even when I went to the fire academy and stuff like that, that wasn't, I mean, it was briefly went over it. You're going to see some shit, talk to somebody. And that was basically it, but it's crazy how much that aspect of our job, the PTSD, the seeing the shit, the learning how to open up and talk to people. I mean, we've had to overcome a lot of it, right? We've had to overcome the stigma of why does it even bother you in the first place? Suck it up. Or why are you talking about it? We don't need to talk about it. It was just a job, And it's crazy how the mindset is slowly shifting to where it's becoming okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to talk about not being okay. And in my department and within the IAFF in general, I don't know, are you guys union?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What, I'm not going to ask you to your local, but
2928, local 2928, but we cover 6 departments. So.
Oh, okay. So local 2928. Well, we're local 1173. And anyway, the IAFF was putting on training for peer supporters. Mm-hmm. And I've always been a guy that's very open to talking. I mean, I'm that guy that I'm not going to care what you think about me when I tell you what I say. If you have a problem with me, I'm going to let you know, hey, what's your deal? I'm not afraid. I'm not a rumor stirrer or anything like that. So I went to do this peer support stuff, and it was crazy how I noticed in the class there was a lot more older, older firefighters, EMTs and stuff in the class, and there weren't very many young firefighters. And I got to think, I was like, I think these young firefighters still think that it's not okay, and that the actual older ones are actually being more open to the idea. And I think it's because we've seen the shit, we've dealt with it, and so now it's like, all right, and these younger people are like, oh no, I'm going to deal with it. I don't think you have to.
It's like the cancer thing, right? So a lot of people thought it was a badge of honor to have your helmet, scored, or your gear ashy and stuff. And I was one of those people, because it's a normal thing when you come in, like, yeah, fire, and then everyone's like, no, we're all dying. Like, dude, listen, I'll tell you right now, if I'm in a fire, right, or if I'm responding to a call, or if something's going on, and if I'm on the second floor and I have to dive off the second floor with a kid on my chest and sacrifice myself to save that kid's life, I'll do it. Whatever. It is what it is. Like, that's
Absolutely.
That's why we sign up for this job. But what I'm not willing to do is work 30 years and then die of cancer very slowly because I didn't wash my gear right. Like, I get it, man. Your gear is going to be messed up. You're going to be put in harm's way. We make it cancer because of what we do for a living. Like, those are all risks that we take, and I'm totally fine with it, but not preventable shit. Like, that's just stupid. And the whole badge of honor with just dealing with it, dude, that's not the way it goes. And I understand the number one thing that we will always combat is that there is a fine line between having problems, mental health issues, and the job that we do. Like, you have to find that fine line. Like, I went to a dead guy the other day, walking It was, I actually laughed at this one because we're going up this elevator. It's at this, it's called it's a hotel, like a long stay hotel. We're going up there and the manager's like, yeah, man, I think this guy's dead. He's like, I was like, all right. We're like, all right, like how long? Like, does it smell real bad? And he's like, are there any flies? You know, that kind of thing. He's like, nah, he doesn't smell at all. I'm actually surprised. We walk in that room, bro, and I'm like, bleh! I'm like, what do you mean he doesn't smell? It's like purple and bloated. I'm like, dude, you need help, man.
Oh my God.
You know, like that, it was like, man, that was like, it is what it is, man. I've seen a lot of dead people. But what does bother me, and this is crazy, man. 2 weeks ago, I was with my girlfriend. We were on a wooden bridge it was wet. So it had a little like a sliminess to it. And I slipped and fell. And I got some stitches, right? Or some staples. Like, was not a big deal, bro. My arm went into a nail. And yeah, but it didn't even hurt. It was one of those, like, I pulled it up. I was like, now I got to get tetanus shot and all this stuff. And it was fine. It wasn't a big deal. But it was very minor. And I said to her, I was like, that could have been a lot worse. Bro, the next shift I was on, we respond to a guy who was in his RV. And it comes in as a laceration. Has a laceration on his arm. Like, what's going on? He falls, knocks off this like decorative piece of fascia or whatever it's called on his like a wall, and there were 3 nails in it. His arm went into all 3 nails, and it like there was an avulsion of all the skin on his. I mean, you could see the muscle. I could see all the muscle fibers in his arm. He ripped almost his entire forearm off, and I was looking at that going, holy shit, that could have been me. It's like that. That's the worst one. So I think that's what it is, man. It's just like and the guy was crying and he was suffering and he was like, I can't believe this. And it wasn't because he was in pain. He was suffering. He was crying and upset. He's like, man, we're on vacation, bro. Now I got to get staples in my arm and I can't do anything. So I think it's human suffering that has always been the number one thing that bothers a lot of people. Not dead people. It's watching the family members suffer that I think truly bothers us the most.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For me, that's one of the worst things. It's not necessarily, and it's always, I mean, you know, not to sound like a dick, but whoever's dead is dead. I mean, exactly. Their issue's done. And now you have to deal with the people that are affected by that. And that, I think, really hits us harder without really thinking about it than anything else, right? If we see the dead kid, I mean, the kid, again, I'm not trying to sound malice or anything, but the kid's gone. His issue, his problem, his hurting, his pain, it's done. But now you have to see it almost like transfers to all those that cared about him. And that, I think that really hits us hard. It hits us as first responders really hard.
Because you can relate to that. That's very relatable, man.
Absolutely.
To watch,
absolutely.
You know, I had a guy who, his nephew or his niece, they were all on vacation going out on the boat. Niece crawled under the back of the car, or back tire of the truck. Guy jumps in the truck. He's not doing anything wrong, bro. Can't see the kid. Backs over his niece's head, like kills her. Yeah. And like you show up. I wasn't on this call, thank God. But like the guys that were on that call were really messed up, dude, because they were like, the kid's dead. Like, it is what it is. But they're looking at the uncle that did nothing wrong. And they're like, oh my God, I can't even imagine what you're going through. And then looking at the father that just lost their kid in a tragic accident, who now has to somehow sort out in his own brain, my kid's dead, my brother did it, but he didn't do it on purpose. How do I not hate this guy for the rest of my life? Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, man, that whole process would, man, I do not, no, I don't know. I hope to God I never have to experience anything like that, because
you and me both.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, with everything that you've been doing and everything like that, do you have any people that help you? Who's helped you along the way doing all this? I see it sometimes in your videos. You have some guests, and it's not just you playing 5 different characters like you do a lot. But we have seen some guests. Are these fellow firefighters you work with, or
firefighters? My girlfriend.
And they're all. I'm assuming they're all real supportive, or else they wouldn't have done it. Or do you just kind of like blackmail them into doing it?
Yeah, I got some pictures of them. No, okay. No, we, yeah, it's fellow firefighters, friends of mine. My girlfriend is in. Anytime I need a female role, she's going to be in it. And the reason I play all 5 characters is because my coworkers were super supportive, and they still are. They're super supportive of it, and they're just so awesome. But it's difficult to constantly ask people, "Hey, can you come film this with me? Can you go?" Because every shift, I'm like, "Can you film this? Can you film this?" So it was really, really hard. And I felt bad a lot of times asking them to do stuff. So yeah, and pretty much 99% of the time, if I ask someone to do it, man, they're going to come help me out. So it's fun. And then I try to
be glad you're not doing the podcast because, yeah, be glad you're not doing the podcast because asking people, I mean, you literally got to ask everybody to be on. I mean, I can do solo podcasts, but nobody wants to hear me talk for an hour at a time, all the time. We need people like you. We need people like you come on and share your story, man. So starting all this, what do you wish you would have known before you started all this? Do you think maybe knowing where it would have grown and what it might be leading to and helping with? Do you think maybe had you known where it was going to go, you might have done things a little bit differently or maybe charged it a little bit differently?
Not really, man. I tell you, there were other people that had done this police officer side, but there are people that had attempted it on the fire and EMS side. And I don't think they gained a lot of followership. And I couldn't tell you why. Maybe just they didn't hit the subjects right, or it was timing. I mean, timing is a huge thing with a lot of this stuff. Honestly, maybe understanding how to do some post-production a little bit better, like upping the post-production value a little bit, but not really, bro. Listen, man, they call it a journey for a reason. You learn a lot as you go, like a lot. And a lot of times the stuff that you're like, this is bullshit. Like someone tells you, a year and a half ago, our one chief left. We got a new chief, and she had a different view on my videos. And he was also an interim. So he was kind of like, I don't want to get fired. And came up to me and he was like, no more videos, man. Can't do videos on shift. And I was like, you suck. But I got it, right? And at first I was like, I was pissed, but I was like, all right, I get it, man, whatever. So, but it forced me, and I was like, this is it. That's it. We're done. I can't do any more. I don't have any apparatus or anything. Well, it forced me into learning how to do videos differently. And that's when I came out with the NREMT video and all the, what paramedics say, what EMTs say, like all these videos, the CPR video that I did, like videos that had huge amounts of views. And then I had to learn how to produce videos at my house. And it actually worked, man. And, a lot of times when things happen, people are very against it. Change is bad. Biggest thing I see with first responders, change is bad. But you find out real fast. It's not. It's not bad. Yeah, I know, man. That whole saying, firefighters say 2 things, the way it is and change. Yeah.
Tradition kills modernization, man. Tradition kills modernization.
But that's life, bro. Everybody feels that way. I don't want to change. Like, I'm comfortable. Like, okay, if you're comfortable, if you are okay with everything that's in your life, don't change. But if you want to do something a little different, you want to make a little more money, you got to be uncomfortable. The number one thing I see happen when people come in for mental health help at the facilities that I work with, they walk in and they're like, whoa, this is not all firefighters and trucks and ambulances and, shining lights. Like, I'm not okay with this. This is not the environment that I want to be in. Like, and the first thing I say to them is, okay, I get it. But everything that you've done up to this point has been you being comfortable. So how's that working out for you? Like, well, it's not working out. Like, and we're respectful about everything. Like, put yourself in a position that's not a bad position, but a different position. Guarantee. I mean, think about that, bro. Think about how deep those curves are going to be in your brain. Those valleys are going to be in your brain because you're in a completely different environment. You have to retrain your thought processes. And then most likely those are going to be deep-seated processes. And now you're going to see the change that you want.
Absolutely. Would you be willing to share those facilities that you help with that maybe somebody who's listening can
Yeah,
contact? And then at the
absolutely.
course at the end, and then
Banyan
at the
Treatment
end of the
Centers.
pod, I'm sorry, say that again.
No, it was, Banyan Treatment Centers is the name of it. 12 facilities across the United States. The main ones that I encourage people to go to, we have 5 of them in Florida where I'm at. So the reason I encourage people is A, it's normally out of their state, so it's a little bit better, so they can get out of their state, get out of their environments, and get into something. B, I'm able to actually go to the facility and say hi to them, which is always nice to see a familiar face. And one of our facilities is right on the water. Like literally, you look out your window and you're on a nice ocean, and it's beautiful and nice, which is always nice.
Oh hell yeah, that'd be awesome. I would like that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get all that contact information from you, phone number and stuff like that, and I'll put it on the YouTube and everything, and I'll tag that place, because I think anything small, anything little bit of information, the hotline, all that stuff definitely helps. And all it takes is just that one instance of courage to make the phone call to get the help. And with you being involved, I think for sure, if I was getting treated somewhere and all of a sudden this dude that I'm laughing at on YouTube that's getting 1 million views walks in to say hi, how am I doing? Like, dude, I like I said, I really do truly think that you came out of nowhere, and you created something that just started helping us in our field, and you're definitely somebody within the fire community, the EMS community, the first responder community, that people are looking towards for that comfort. And I'm going to personally say thank you for doing that, because we do need that different outlet that we sometimes just don't get with our families, with our friends. There's just, sometimes family and friends aren't the answer. Sometimes you need that funny video from a guy who understands the job,
Yeah, man.
They need that.
But I think it's important. And I appreciate you saying that, man, because I think it's important. I think it's important to have a humorous outlook, or find some humor that you can relate to. Because you just need humor in your life, bro. Like, we all got to laugh. But I think it's great that there's I don't know if you've ever heard of National Fire Radio, but National Fire Radio they got their thing where they obviously do a podcast as well, but they go to different fire stations and show, they call them innovations, but I think it's a cool thing, man. Like, it's cool for them to go to those places and show what's going on. Little tiny tips that people may find, short videos. Actually, one of the funniest things that I've seen, training seconds, I believe is the name of it. Not a lot of people have seen this guy, but he's got like a mustache. He looks like he's like a captain or something like that. And he's literally, it's 10-second clips, 15-second clips, and they're hysterical. Because he's like one of them, he's got a completely burnt down house. They're like this. There was a full loss. It was definitely defensive attack, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And he's just got his camera on, his selfie mode. He's like, he's like, Jim with training seconds. We put it out. All right, training seconds, and then that's it. And then he does tips on like extension ladders, and it's really, really funny, bro. Like, he's got one where the extension ladder's up, or the ladder's up, they haven't extended it yet. And he's like, Jim, with training seconds, if you got an extension ladder and it's not reaching long enough, you got to go up to the second story. You just got to extend it. All right, training seconds, and that's it. It's like, it's fucking awesome, man. It's just real fast stuff, but I love it, man. 15 seconds long,
What was his name again?
It's Training Seconds. I don't know his actual name, but it's
Training Seconds. Can we find him on Instagram?
Yeah, Facebook. I don't know. He may be on Instagram as well, but Facebook, I think, is where I saw him post his videos. Yeah, Training Seconds. All right.
Training Seconds, guys. Go check that out.
Yeah.
How has this whole process changed your thinking of the fire department, man? I think and from what I see, I really do think you doing all this probably changed a little bit of your outlook, especially once you started getting the recognition, right? Mm-hmm. Probably this is just same old. I'm making videos to be funny. And then you started getting the recognition. There must've been a time where you just kind of realized, oh shit, this is bigger than me.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was, man. I looked at it like, it's not just me making funny videos. And that's why You don't see me running, doing political posts online. You don't see me, blasting people online, like, or doing anything like that. I keep it very neutral because it's bigger than me. This is everybody wants the humor. Everybody wants to be able to laugh, and if I'm going to have this, I should use it for good. I should use it to, promote mental health, show people how to get help. I should, do CPR videos, how to do CPR, how to use automated defibrillators, use it for humor, but then use that humor to teach people. And I think that's what it is. My big thing that has changed in my head is that social media is a very good thing if it's used properly. The number one thing that I tell people when they try to start doing social media or podcasts or anything is just remember, whatever you do could get you fired. Just like get that in your head. Like if you put a podcast out about how, or you put some super racist shit out there, or you do something really stupid, say some sexist comments about something really dumb, like it is your freedom of speech, but you're going to get fired. like that's congratulations, you're getting fired. And I think that's what I tell a lot of people is like, hey, do it, have a good time, use social media to better the world. But just stay in your lane, man. Stay in your lane. Don't shoot outside your lane, because if you do, we are public servants in the end.
Right. Do you think, have you tried to get your department on board? Maybe help spread the message and be a part of spreading that good message? And then you might be able to get a pass on some of the videos. They might of course have to review them first, but then at least now you don't have to worry about tying yourself to them. Have you tried
my
that?
My department's on board. They're fine with it. They don't say anything, because you won't see who I work for in the videos. My chief about 4 years or 3 years ago, he came up to me. He was like, I love the videos that you're doing. This is after I relaunched them. He goes, man, listen, I want you to know, I love what you're doing. I think they're funny. He goes, but some people don't. He goes, so here's the deal. You can keep doing what you're doing, but A, don't do anything stupid. B, don't put the department in any videos. And C, if you get fired, you did this to yourself. I'm like, all right, that's fair enough. So we, that's kind of the way we always approached it. I don't need the department to be in the videos. I don't want them to be in the videos. I always want to separate it. And I think, they've been very good to me about all of this stuff. And every year, just to kind of say thank you to them, every year I find a couple families in my local area that I work, and I adopt them for Christmas. So and I've done it every year for the last 4 years. So spend about $1,000. We'll buy them Christmas presents. We'll buy dinner for them. Christmas dinner. Just depending on what they want, because I think it's the right thing. I could not imagine my 4.5-year-old daughter not being able to get a Christmas present, and not because Christmas is that important, but man, I would never want my kid going to school and them going, oh yeah, Santa or my parents bought me this, and then them going, oh, I guess Santa Claus doesn't love me, or my parents don't love me. So just, I try to help out as many people as possible. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think you have helped more people than you'll probably really ever realize. And I really do hope and pray that you continue to do what you're doing, because I think you're doing a really great job. I want to switch gears a little bit. We talked about your videos, and that's Fire Department Chronicles, by the way. Everybody that's listening, go check him out. He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook. Obviously on TikTok now, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yep.
His videos are hilarious. Especially everybody that's listening that's in that civil service in the fire EMS realm. You guys are going to love it. And the general public, everybody else outside of it, watch them. You'll get to see a little bit of an insight on our lives and how we bust each other's balls. And it's awesome. I want to switch to the shirt you're wearing is Fire Department Chronicles, but you also have another FDC company that you are part of, Fire Department Coffee. I want to give you a chance to kind of talk about that and how that came about. I read up a little bit on it, and how your partner met you, saw your videos, and then invited you on. And then basically you guys turned this company of not just another coffee company, but again, something to help bring awareness to mental health, it looks like.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I've yet to try a bag. I have it in my cart right now. I was just waiting for payday.
Nice.
So, but it looks good. I saw that you just posted a new brand as well that's coming out. You guys are having a pre-order going for it, the Kraken.
Yeah,
if I got it right.
Right. It's God, what is it called? I just drew a blank on it because we just put it out.
Yeah, you literally just put it out.
Yeah,
I thought it was Kraken. Yeah, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna find it for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. But
it's so this is that new one, that our new bag is for our sailor brothers and sisters, or our Navy men, because something I didn't know.
I'm sorry, Shellback
Thank you.
Espresso.
Thanks, Shellback.
There it is. Look,
Shellback,
guys, right there. That's it. Shellback Espresso.
That's probably my favorite bag, and that is paying homage to our CEO, Luke Schneider, who's also an active duty firefighter. He was a Navy man, and he was in the Navy. And so what I didn't know is that when you get in the Navy, you have to become a firefighter, or you have to be trained in firefighting tactics because you're on a freaking boat. So like, you need to know what to do. Like, there's specific people that have that job, but everyone needs to know how to do firefighting. So it seemed to make sense, and we want to pay homage to those guys as well. So Fire Department Coffee, about 4 years ago, Luke reached out to me, and he's like, "Hey man, he had just formed Fire Department Coffee, and he's like, I'd love to do some work with you. Let's blow this up together." And I was like, absolutely. But probably about 6 months in, as things are rolling, I was like, hey man, like, I want to give back to charity. Like, and I said, but I hate charities. I really do. I like, because 99 or a good portion of them, 90% of what your money's going to is paying the CEOs or promotions and stuff like that. So I said, let's do this, man, but let's form a foundation that we can help sick and injured first responders. So we did. The Fire Department Coffee Charitable Foundation was formed, and now we give back 10% of all net proceeds to that foundation, and then we use those proceeds to find injured and sick first responders and help them out. It's 90% of the time it's cash in hand. Hey, you're hurt. You can't pay your car payment this month. Let's pay your car payment for the month. Stuff like that. So stuff that, sometimes you need it, man. Sometimes you just need a little help. One car payment, $500 for a month. That's a big deal. So
that's huge. That's huge. That you guys did that. Where did the whole coffee idea come from? I mean, I know it was his brainchild and you just kind of jumped on, but what, other than it being just a coffee thing, what was his sell to you to be involved? Like, hey man, you're funny, you want to be a part of coffee? Was he looking at you to be a promoter? Was he looking at you to be an ambassador? Where was that?
No, it started the connection began because I posted about when hurricanes come to Florida. If it's going to hit us directly, they call in all the shifts, and we all end up in the stations together. So you're in one station with 30 guys. So I was joking about how coffee was this particular coffee brand that I used in the video was the only thing that's going to stop us from killing each other. So he saw the video, or somebody tagged him, and he contacted me, and he was like, "Yo, let's do some work together." Because dude, one thing firefighters love is coffee. Like, it's part of the staple. You walk in, first thing the pro better be doing, a rookie better be doing in the morning is brewing some coffee, man. Like, should smell it when you're waking up. So, or walking in the station. And then probably right around 2:00 in the afternoon, there should be another pot being made. So,
right.
It's just facts. So no, he brought me on. He was like, "Hey man, I want to make you part of the company. Let's do this together. Let's form a company that creates good, high quality coffee at good prices for first responders and everybody. And then use some of that to give back to the people that support us the most." And that's exactly what we did.
That's awesome, man. That was just like a firefighter. It's pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward. Yeah. This is what it is. Yeah. So and going through everything, we went through your Fire Department Chronicles. We kind of touched on your Fire Department Coffee. Is there anything that you would change about the job right now? I mean, obviously we're going through the quote unquote pandemic. And you don't have to give your viewpoint on the whole political aspect of it. We know it's a virus. We know it's there. However, how it's being dealt with, we all have our own issues with. What I'm talking about is within the department, within the first responder realm. Do you have any ideas or how you would change how we do the job, not just with this COVID thing, but in general? Is there anything that you would change or anything that you would like to see evolve?
I don't know, man. It's hard. It's very difficult. Because again, like everything that we want to change has an inverse reaction to that, right? So, and a reason why we either want to change it or the reason why it's happening. The only thing that I would ever like to see change a little bit is I think volunteers should be treated with a little bit more respect. I
just kidding. I started as a volunteer. So I totally get it. No, I understand.
But I get why they're not, or why some of them aren't, or why they created such a bad. But here's the problem, right? So, and this is why I'm like, you either got to make it better for volleys, but then they're not volleys. Like if you're going to pay them, they're not volleys. Or B, train them better, or C, hold them to an outrageously high standard, but then you're probably not going to get a lot of volleys. Like the pendulum swings both ways at all times. But what I cannot stand, and I don't think it's everybody, I think it's a very select 10% of firefighters, is when career firefighters shit on volleys. And they're like, you're a piece of crap, blah, 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 blah. Like, shut up, dude. You show up to work and you go into work and then you get a paycheck. You put that in your pocket and you do your 24 or your 48 or whatever you're doing. And then you get time off and you get vacation, all this stuff. I met a dude that he's a volley. And he's talking to me with his kid in his hand, his infant, and his wife next to me. And he's like, yeah, man, I volunteer, bro. And, he works on like a construction yard, and he's there. He's like, yeah, I normally work like 7 to 6, something like that. Then I come home, and he's like, last night we got a fire, 2 in the morning. So this dude is sleeping in bed after working, 12 hours, and then wakes up at 2 in the morning, goes and fights a fire, probably at higher risk for cancer because they're not trained as well as the career, and they're probably not given the best stuff. And then he has to drive home with soot all over his face, and then has to go back to bed, get 4 hours of sleep, and then go to work again. Like, why are you shitting on that guy? Like, why are you shitting on this dude?
No, I totally get that, and I do agree with you that I think the career guys that have never volunteered before wouldn't really understand that. However, to play devil's advocate, right? That guy that you just explained, he's awesome. He's like top 10% of volunteers.
Yeah.
My experience has not always been that. I have met a few volunteers that are like that, right? And I met a lot of volunteers that are career fire, and then they go volunteer.
Yeah.
But it's been my experience with some, and with a department that I tried to volunteer for, being a career firefighter, I figured, hey, I can go to this volunteer department. It's in my city. I can help out. But they didn't allow, my certifications meant nothing to them. My experience in the paid career meant nothing to them. And the captains and their lieutenants, whose main job was a maintenance guy, or they worked in the plant here in the Houston area. Those are their main jobs. They were my captains, and we'd go to a structure fire. We'd go to something like that. And you can see the inexperience. And I felt unsafe.
Yeah. But I mean, I agree with you. I agree. And
so I saw a different part of it. There are guys like that, in the guy that you explained. They put in the work, they put in the training, they're working towards to make themselves better. But then there's some that are, well, I'm a firefighter. Doesn't matter if you're a volunteer firefighter or not. I'm a firefighter. You're going to listen to me. And and then the whole promotion system was a voting system. So it was a popularity game if you're going to get promoted. And I was like, can't do it.
No, and I'm with you, bro. You can always play devil's advocate on that kind of stuff, especially since, like, you're right, man. But that's why they're volunteers, bro. Like, they're
Exactly.
coming
Yeah.
there. They have X amount of requirements for training. They have X, blah, 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 blah. But let me tell you something. I don't give a shit if it's a volley or career. If my house is in the middle of nowhere and two redneck dudes with mismatching gear show up and an SCBA's from 1930, but they put that stuff on, they put my house out. And then, it's probably gonna be a complete loss in the middle of nowhere, but at least at least they did something. And the other thing I like to say, and I say this to any business owner that's in the fire service, if you are a firefighter that is a business owner and you are talking shit about volunteers, you're an idiot. You are a straight up moron, because who goes to FDIC? Who goes to all the trade shows? Who's buying your axes, your leather straps, all your stuff? Who's listening to your podcast, bro? Like, who? It's volunteers. It's 70% of our base are volleys, man. So have your opinions. Don't put them on the internet, and just understand that, it sucks, but at least their heart's in it. Now, them on TikTok,
Absolutely.
That's a whole different thing. But
No. I like I said, I started as a volunteer, and I respect the fact that they're willing to take any of their free time to go out and just try to help any way they can.
Yeah,
and especially
but you are
the
right.
ones.
Just so we're clear, you are right. There are they're just like anything. There are going to be people that don't take it seriously, and those people should not be in the career. The only way to fix that is to standardize volunteering hours, training hours, levels that they're held to, tests that they have to pass across the United States. That's the only way to really standardize it.
Yeah, to make it a national standardized for volleys, but it's not like that right now. It's city by city, and that SFFFA, the oh my gosh,
that's an acronym right there.
Yeah, but okay, so you would probably just change the outlook on volunteers, and that's actually something I agree with you on. I think that career firefighters do kind of, and to be honest, I've been at fault for sometimes we'll go mutual aid, a volunteer department, and I got that, like, oh my God, you guys are screwing this up. Like, I'm not,
dude. Yes.
I'm not trying to dog them. I'm just
no.
But
I've also watched a career department that trains 3 hours a shift every shift. I watched a career department try to supply water to their aerial device and almost killed somebody, because instead of spraying it out the fog nozzle or discharging it from the fog nozzle, they discharged it from the straight stream and almost took a firefighter out. So, like, we've all seen they forgot to close off the one side.
No, they forgot to switch the valve. Yep.
Yeah.
But you know what? We all make those mistakes. Those mistakes, career or volley.
Yeah.
I want to, and we've actually talked for a while now. We've been on for almost an hour, man. You believe that? Yeah. What do you think your biggest failure is? Within the job in general, what do you think one of your biggest failures is, and how did it help you learn and what did you learn from it? How did it help you grow?
I don't know, man. It's really hard. I would say, like most of us, we could train more. I think when we show up, when I show up, I could probably put a slight more amount of time into training itself and really focusing on how I can better perform my job. We have to be perfectionists. Like, that's just the way the job is. Like, you can't. I did a speech one time. I'll do keynote speeches every once in a while. And I did a speech one time, and it was probably the truest statement I've ever said in my life is, you will never feel worse in your entire life than showing up to a fire or showing up to a call, and A, one of your pieces of equipment aren't working because you didn't check it out in the morning, or B, you don't know how to work something because you didn't train enough on it. And I got to tell you, man, it is hard. I think probably one of my bigger failures in life, and obviously this is something you can constantly fix every shift, but training just a little bit more, even if it's 10% more. I think that's definitely something that I could improve on. We'll say, I won't even call it a failure. I'll just say something that I can improve on, you know?
Well, obviously we always push that training in our career, right? And we always see the memes and the little sayings from the old hats and everything. You know, one that really sticks with me is a picture of a firefighter and said, "Let no man say that he died due to the lack of training."
Yeah.
I.e., train until that's not going to be the reason why something bad happens to you, you know? And that's kind of a mentality within our service, because we really do. We're not only training for ourselves, we're training to help protect our brothers. And then after our brothers, we're training to help protect the public. So
micro trainings are actually something that I suggest for a lot of people. 10 minutes, 15 minutes a shift. That's nothing, bro, especially since most of us are under 24 hours. But micro train. So you come on, you know, you just set something. On Mondays, I'm going to go over my extrication equipment. I'm going to open it. I'm going to read back over what the limits are, what the jaws can do, so on and so forth. You know, how far the spreaders actually go, you know, whatever. So you go over that on Mondays, right? And then on, you know, I mean, you look at your stuff every shift, you check it out, but you do an intense, you know, training on it. You know, you do ropes every Wednesday, you do, you know, and those 10, 15 minute long things are really great, man. One of the best ones I ever did that I thought was really cool. 2 radios in 2 different rooms, crews in 2 different rooms, Legos, same Legos, matching Lego sets in both rooms. You use your, keep your gloves on. You could use extrication gloves, but the captain in one room describes how to put the pieces together on the Lego set. And it's a communication and following instructions class. And it's really, really freaking fun, because you get to find out how well the captain is at describing stuff and how well you are at listening. People are like, well, where can I use that? You're in a warehouse. It's completely blacked out. That you tell the captain where you're at, and now the captain's looking at a blueprint, and he's trying to get you out the window that you can't get to because you can't see it. Oh, you need to walk, you know, X feet forward. Feel for this. You'll feel that, you know, so on and so forth. So, cool.
You know what? I'm going to write that down right now, actually, because that sounds, and it sounds like more than just training. It actually sounds like something fun for we can do. I'm going to call it the Lego radio training.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't make that up. I forget, somebody posted that at one point in time, and then my captain did it. But it was one of those like very memorable moments to me where I was like, man, that was a lot of fun. We were laughing and joking. Put the blue Lego, have, you know, 4 pegs in, and you go 4 pegs in, and then they come in, they're like, hey, it matches. You know, like, let's go.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm getting close to the end, man. I know you're probably busy and everything, but there's a couple more questions I want to get from you. Just because you just have this crazy outlook, and obviously you're a little bit of a celebrity within our department, within our community. What do you think what do you think is the most common myth about our profession and what we do? What do you think is the biggest common myth to the general public? And how would you debunk that myth? Not just by telling them, but like, how would you show it to debunk it? Because let me tell you something, some of your videos are actually accentuating the myths. And it's hilarious because some of those myths are true, but there's some myths out there that just aren't true. What do you think is that's the biggest one?
You and I know the number one, that all of us are showing up with 6-packs. Like, that shit ain't happening. Like, you're looking for dad bods? We got endless amount of those, man. You know, I think the 2 big things are that we're the toughest people on the face of the planet. I mean, we are, but you know, it's like we're the toughest in the moments where we need to be, but we're just like everybody else. The number one thing that I think is just funny, I don't know if it's something I ever want to debunk, but that's every call that we run is an emergency, and we both know that's not true. You know, 70% of you know, and I think it's funny, bro, because it's not something I ever want to truly debunk, because, you know, depending on the shift, I've had shifts where I have run 100% all true emergencies. If we didn't go, they would not have made it to, you know, to the next day. But I think the biggest thing is that a lot of people call 911 for really odd reasons, for reasons that you and I would never, ever, ever, ever in a million years call for. But a friend of mine said it. There are exceptions to this because people like I had one lady call and she's like, my hands are dry. I'm like, you think that's an emergency? Like, oh, they just want to, she's like, yeah. I was like, all right. It was actually, I had more fun with that call than any of them because I was like going to the hospital. I'm then going, yeah, we got an emergency dry hands. Get the emergency lotion ready. And they were like,
oh my God.
You know, a friend of mine said it to me and he said it the best. And I try to keep this in mind. It's very difficult at 3 a.m, but he said that an emergency to you is completely different than an emergency to somebody else. Because, you know, when I split my arm open, I was like, meh. Like I literally pulled it up. I was like, ah, man, I gotta get stitches. My girlfriend's like, ah, yeah. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's so much worse. So, you know, I think that's probably the number one thing that I think. But in general, that's probably it. I would never debunk that, but I think that's a lot of people just think that it's just constant fires and constant 911 call or emergencies. But most of the time, we're just showing up to help an old lady out of the bed or into bed. That's pretty much.
Yeah, you know, we get those 3 o'clock in the morning. I stub my toe calls, and you're like, "Well, when did you stub your toe?" 8 hours ago.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, cool. Hey, man, we're here. Exactly. It's your emergency. Yeah. Exactly. But I do want to say something to that, and it's some of the best advice that I've heard, in for us to stay safe as we're going to that is that we also have to remember that their emergency is not our emergency.
Yeah.
Is that because sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. Sometimes we start thinking too fast. We don't slow down and really, you know, assess the situation. Sometimes we can make rash decisions and stuff. And so that was some of the better advice given to me, is that we do have to remember that it is their emergency. It is not our emergency. Let's slow down. Let's calm down. Let's make sure that when we get there, we can mitigate their emergency without creating an emergency for ourselves.
Yeah. So, that's the way it was said to me was that's not your address above the door. So don't.
Yeah. You know. Yeah. It's the same thing. Yeah. If you can step into my shoes now, okay, you're the podcaster, the host, and you're actually interviewing yourself, what question would you have asked yourself?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know.
That's pretty good, right?
That's Inception stuff right there. Yeah.
Right. Well, what would you have wished I asked you so you had a chance to talk about it?
Honestly, bro, you did an amazing job, and like this was perfect. Like I think we covered all the bases. It was really, really good, dude. You know, I think the number one piece of advice that I would give anybody, no matter who they are, if they do social media stuff, if they're just a firefighter, you know, quote unquote, just a firefighter, or a human on the planet, is stay humble. Like that is my number one piece of advice for anybody. Stay humble. The second you think that because you're promoted, you are better than everyone else, you have failed. You know, yes, you're a captain now, or you're a battalion chief, or you're a chief. You deserve respect. There is a huge difference between respect and not being humble. Because let me tell you, the greatest chiefs, the greatest captains that I've ever worked for, they will come in, what's up, boys? What's going on? What can we do? Do we want to train today? Like, I want to train, whether it's tabletop or outside. You make the choice. You know, hey, I am the captain. If it comes down to it, I'm the one that's gonna take the fall. But we are a team, and that is it, man. The second people believe that you think you're better than everyone else, because you're not better than anyone else. You passed the test. Congratulations. Like, great job.
Yeah, you're still a human being, just like everybody else.
You're still a human being. Yeah, we're still fallible. If you screw up, tell me you screwed up, because then, man, and I guess that's the other big piece of advice. When you fuck up, just say it. Just say you fucked up. Like, it's okay.
Man, you have no idea how much I agree with you on that one. You have no freaking clue. I think one of my biggest pet peeves in life in general, especially in the fire department or something, is when you make a mistake, don't try to excuse your way out of it. Just fucking own up to it. Own up to it. I messed up. How can I not make this happen again? And just own up to it. I hate the guys that are like, well, it's because when we were loading the hose that way, it turned, or it had a twist, or it was brand new hose, it was dry. There's always an excuse. It's just like, look, there's an excuse for all failures. We know that.
Yeah.
Right. What we're looking for is for you to own the failure and try to mitigate those excuses from ever happening again. Like, just own up to it. Be honest. You learn from your failures. It's okay to fail. I think that mindset is so hard to get over, is the being okay to fail. Like, I have to beat that into my kids sometimes, because they're so afraid to try something new because they don't want to fail the first time. And I have to tell them, like, look, it's okay if you fail, because you can try it again. As long as you don't die from it, you can try it again. Well, what happens if I break my arm or break my leg? If I try to do it, well, then it heals. And then later on, you can try it again if you want to, but you learn from it. You learn from it. Barring anything that's going to do permanent damage, you learn from it. Go out and try it.
That's the way it should be. Like, just like, admit the failure. It does two things. It teaches you humility, and it also allows you to learn. But the other thing is it gains trust in the people around you. Like, if I ripped the door off a truck, like ripped it clean off, man. Like, there was, one of the accordion style doors or flip up doors. Like, I got it in the morning. We checked the truck out, or I was checking the truck out. And we got a call, and I ran around to do something real fast, and I forgot to close the door, and I just ripped that thing clean off, dude. And I could have been like, we got a call, so I was excited, but I was like, shit. I got fucked up, man.
My bad.
Yeah, it's life, bro. Like, so I got to write up, and for carelessness, and it is what it is, man. It's life. We all screw up. But I tell you what, if something does happen and I didn't do anything wrong, and I say, hey man, I didn't do anything wrong in that one, bro, they're going to look at me and go, all right, we believe you. Right? Because I've admitted every other time when I've done something wrong,
Yeah. You build trust. You build that, for lack of a better word, trust.
Yeah.
You build that trust in people, where that, you know what, hey, he admits when he's wrong. Why would he try to hide that now? So you become more trustworthy. People can believe in you a little bit more. So that is actually a great piece of advice, and I could not agree with you more on that.
Yeah.
So before we head off, I just wanted to ask you, do you have any questions for me? We hit a lot on you. We hit on you, Fire Department Chronicles, Fire Department Coffee, your background, your ideas. Do you have any questions for me that you'd like to know about? I know we're still getting to know each other. We only had that 10, 15-minute conversation yesterday for the test call. And I'm a new podcaster and everything. So I'm just some Texas firefighter.
What made you what made you want to do the podcast?
So actually, that's a really good question, because for me, it was wanting to find that reason that makes this huge, diverse community, which is the fire department and EMS, world.
Mm-hmm.
We are so diverse in our personalities, in our backgrounds, in our beliefs, everything. But there's this one thing that draws us all towards the job.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The only thing really that we have in common with all this diversity is the job. But I don't think I can find any one person that can explain what that one thing is that drives us to that, especially since we're all different outside the job. Like, we see people inside the job that if you looked at them without a fire department shirt on, you'd have no idea they were firefighters.
Yeah.
And then when you say, hey, I'm a firefighter, they're like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
You're too skinny.
Yeah.
You're too fat.
Yeah.
You're too tall. You're too small. You know, how can you be a firefighter and help somebody that doesn't believe in what you believe in? You know what I mean? Like, how can you do that? That doesn't make any sense. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to create this podcast to give people the knowledge and let them know that we are diverse. We are not all the same. we are human beings first. And I think Hollywood's done kind of a disservice to us in our, in the civil service field, cops, firefighters, and stuff like that. I think Hollywood, even though they try to make us look to be these heroes and all kind of like the same outlook. You said it earlier. You think firefighters all have this same mentality, and we don't.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show that, and I don't think it's shown enough. Even within ourselves, I think even firefighters and EMS forget that just because we have this thing in common doesn't mean we have everything in common, and it's okay. Yeah. It's okay to disagree with each other, but I wanted to show that to people, and I'm trying to look for that answer, that what is that one thing that all these different people have found themselves doing? What was it to make them do that? And I'm basically, I'm doing this podcast to try to find that answer, because I think that it's almost unexplainable, because we do this job. Everybody says they do it for a different reason. It's usually in some way to help somebody, right? We want to help somebody else. I was like, okay, but that your background's completely different from mine. How did we all decide that that's what we want to do? Even coming from all the different backgrounds. And that's what I wanted to show. That's why I wanted to start this. I'm looking for that answer. Really, to be completely honest with you, I'm looking for an answer. I'm looking for an answer to that. So, and when I saw you and everything, I was like, man, this is somebody that's really been putting himself out there. I did some research and saw how involved you are with the PTSD and mental illness part of it. And it was like, this is somebody I want to talk to. I took a shot in the dark and sent you a message, knowing you probably get a shit ton of messages all the time. I mean, you have 230,000 followers on your Instagram, and that's where I messaged you. And I was just like, even if 10% of them message him, that's 2,000 messages he gets. Like, oh my God, how is he going to pick mine out? And I was extremely grateful you did. Thank you for coming on and helping me try to find it.
Appreciate it, brother.
And right before we go, I do want to ask you that one question. What do you think it is that makes us fire? What do you think it is?
I think it all comes down to a self-sacrificing attitude. I think at the end of the day, we all understand that we're here to save lives. We're here to change lives. But at the end of the day, it's not about us. It's always about other people. And I think that's the one thing that connects all of us.
Wow. That's a great answer, man. I think that's true. I think that is an idea that does connect all of us. I'm just still looking for, even though that connects all of us, how did all of us get to that point? Especially with as a diverse background as we all have. There's something there that, as different as we all are, we all decided, hey, this is what we want to do.
Yeah, man.
But outside of this job, I probably would never talk to you. You know what I mean? I mean, honestly, there's outside the job, there's some people that you just don't want to talk to because they have a different mindset, different lifestyle, whatever the case may be. But yet you guys get to the job and your brothers, your sisters, you're your brothers and sisters keeper. And it doesn't matter that they have a different outlook. We still want to do the job for each other. Well, Jason, man, you've been awesome. Thank you so much for doing the podcast with me. Thank you for coming on. Everybody, you guys follow Jason Patton, Fire Department Chronicles. Get on board with Fire Department Coffee. Get out there, order from them. Remember, 10% of their proceeds go to helping injured firefighters and their families, and that is an amazing cause. Also, on the YouTube channel, look up there. I'm going to be putting up some links for the PTSD places to help,
Banyan.
with the mental health places to help. There'll be a phone number and everything else. If you guys ever do need any help, by all means, please message me. You can message me on my email, Instagram, anything. You can message me, and I will do everything I can to help you find the help. And I'm sure Jason's the same way. Jason, I'm sorry, I just kind of put your name out there. You're gonna.
Go for it, man.
I don't think you have a problem with it.
No, my name's Jason Patton. Everyone knows it.
Yeah. So you guys find him. Again, Jason, thank you so much again for coming in, man. Thank you for doing the podcast. Any last words?
That's it, brother. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Awesome. All right, everybody. You guys stay tuned for the next one. All right, everyone, that was Jason. Thank you guys for tuning in and hearing his story. Again, if any of you guys need any help in any way, shape, or form, please just reach out and contact one of us. We're more than willing to point you in the right direction for any help you might need. Or even if you just have any questions, don't feel ashamed. We're here for you. But again, that was Jason Patton of Fire Department Chronicles and Fire Department Coffee. I want to thank him again for coming on the show, giving his point of view, letting us know what he's involved with. You guys, please get out there, follow the What Makes Us Fire podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at What Makes Us Fire. You got the YouTube channel at What Makes Us Fire podcast. Also, there's a TikTok out there, you guys, the What Makes Us Fire, if you want to see a few little videos and promos and basically get the what's coming up and inside the life of your host, me, from What Makes Us Fire. And then also, you can email me at whatmakesusfire@yahoo.com for any questions, any type of information that you might have heard on the podcast. If you want a little bit more, reach out. Guys, we love you. Thank you so much for listening. You guys have been awesome. Remember to share. And that's it. Stay tuned for the next episode, guys. It'll be coming out a few days from now, and you're going to love what you hear. I promise. Much love to y'all. Stay safe.